We have gone through the basics of shared preferences. It's time to get our hands dirty with the code now. Let's open the Android Studio. First of all, we will go to the resources directory and give our preferences file a name. We'll open the strings.xml file. The name that we are giving this tag is preference_file_name. You can give any name here. We'll give the file name as Avengers Preferences and then close the tag. That's done. Let's open the login activity file now. First, we will declare the shared preference variable. Then, we'll create an object of the shared preferences class inside the onCreate method. Now, the syntax for creating the object for this method is a little different. This is how we will do it. So here we have this object name. Then we directly call the getSharedPreferences method. Okay, we know the two parameters for this method. As we said, the first parameter is the name of the file, and we have seen in the previous topics that we can refer to the strings stored in the strings.xml file by using their ID stored in the R file. Now, this ID will be an integer, whereas this parameter can take only strings. So, we will use this getString method to get the string referred to by the ID. Got it? Next, we have the mode as mode private. Now, here are the next steps that we want to do. When a user logs in for the first time, we want to save a Boolean value true inside the preferences file. The next time the user comes to the app, we will first check what the Boolean value for the user's login status is. If it is true, the user will directly be taken to the next activity, else he will be shown the login activity. We'll go back to the IDE and do this. Now, we know that the user is getting logged in inside any of these four if-else blocks. So, we will have to save the Boolean value inside all these four blocks, right? To shorten the code, we can create a function outside this onCreate function which will save the Boolean value for the user's login status. And then we can simply call that function inside all the four if-else blocks. So we'll create a function here. Make sure the function is outside the onCreate method but inside the login activity class. The function name we have given is savePreferences. Inside this, we will use the shared preferences object we have created above, then use the edit method with it to allow us to edit it and add preferences to it. Then we will use the putBoolean method to put a Boolean value in the preferences. The first parameter here is the key, which is given as a string always, and the second parameter is the Boolean value, which we are putting as true. After this, we will use the apply method on it to apply the changes or to save the preference we have given. We can also use the commit method here instead of apply like this. But as you can see, it gives a warning. If we hover over it, we can read here that the commit method writes the data immediately and hence will take up more resources. And so it is preferable to use the apply method here. It lets the application remain lightweight. Let's change it to apply only. Now that we have created this function, let's call it inside all these if-else blocks where the user is able to log in. Okay, so we have saved the preferences at the time of the first login. Now for future logins, we need to check for this preference at the time when the app is started and before it reaches this login activity. For this, we will check the preference again. First, we will create a variable called isLoggedIn. This will use the shared preferences object. Then it will use the getBoolean method to get the Boolean value from this file. The name used here as the first parameter will be exactly the same as the name of the key we have used to save the Boolean value in the method that we had created just before this. Remember, these names are always case sensitive. Now, as the second parameter, we will give a default value for this shared preference, which we are giving as false. What this will do is that if it gets the value of the key which is true, it will store that value in this isLoggedIn variable. But if it gets no value, it will mean that the user has not logged in even once. And so this variable will take the default value which is false. Now that this variable has a value, we need to check this value, right? So we'll use the if-else here. If the isLoggedIn is true, we will create and start the intent, else the login activity will be displayed. Now if you notice, we have not given the condition inside the if statement here, but have simply put the variable name here. That's because the if condition checks if the value of a condition is true or not, right? But here the variable itself will have the value true or false, so we need not put an extra condition here. Well, looks like we have done all the steps and it's time to check the changes in the app. So let's run the app, putting the credentials, logged in once. Good till now. Now let's exit the app and restart it from the device to see if we remain logged in. Yes, we remain logged in, but there is no title on the toolbar. Let's press back and exit. Oops, what happened? It says that the Avengers app has unfortunately stopped. This means that some exception occurs when the app is trying to restart. Remember errors and exceptions? Time for that now, fellas. Click next to move forward and to fix this error.